and their presence in East India. A few years ago, a book was released on the Nanak Sadak, which is a road that Guru Nanak traversed from through the East, which is also the Jagannath Sadak. And then Vibha Mitra and Own the Past brought this idea to me, and I was delighted to include a session on this very special community who has inspired us with their generosity and showed us the true possibilities of religion through their philanthropy. So thank you, Vibha and Own the Past. I'd like to welcome the panel for Nanak and the Sikhs in Eastern India. Welcome to Professor Himadri Banerjee, Jagmohan Singh Gill ji, and they will be in conversation with Vibha Mitra. This is a session we are doing in conjunction with Own the Past. Over to you, Vibha.
I will sit here. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Hi everyone, and this is a nice sunny morning, and we'll be talking of the light of Sikhism. So I would start with a chora in a Bengali. It's a kind of a Bengali literary chora. It says, Bonomali Sharkarer Bari, Govindoram Mitror Chori, Umi Chonder Dari, Huziri Mualer Kori, Ke na jane. So this is something that has been going around in Bengal for years. So when you talk of Umi Chandra Dari, he was a Sikh who came here and he lived here. So, I think myth and folklore is based on reality. So the Sikhs have been occupying our state and lending their generosity so profusely. And it definitely establishes the advent and presence of the Sikhs in Eastern India. During COVID, the Gurdwaras did stellar work. And we all know about their compassion, honesty, integrity. And I don't want to trivialize them, but we were a family of 3 girls. And while growing up in the 70s, we were told that if you take a taxi, it has to be with a Sardarji and you will be absolutely safe. And there was the cuisine. So over here we have 2 stellar panelists, and they are geniuses in their field. So Jagmohan Singh ji is an explorer, and he has gone onto the field and he's spoken to the Sikh diaspora, and he has kind of brought the dispersed Sikh brotherhood in the East in his writings, which is going to be published in a book which should have been published. And as he says, to reckon the past, to beckon the future. And he has documented his actual experiences. Himadri Da is a quintessential researcher. He has researched the writings in 3 Eastern languages on the Sikh diaspora. And I would say that he has, he has written in his book about the archetypes of heroism and sacrifice. And he has analyzed the writings in the vernacular about this community. So the people who follow the Sikh religion. I would like to start this discussion by asking Jagmohan Singh ji, what prompted you to delve into these studies?
Well, first of all, I thank to Victoria Memorial authorities and Tata Steel Group and Ma'am Vibha Mitra and her OTP team. Now, as we are speaking on Sikhism of East India, so Sikhism of East India or Sikh settlements of East India starts right from visit of Guru Nanak Ji. Guru Nanak visited in around 1509 or 1510 his first Udasis, and among the first six, the major group which was imbibed with Gurbani and Guru Nanak's teaching were Khatris and their subordinates Aroras. We get references of Salis Rai Johari and his subordinate Adharka Arora in Patna. So the Khatris, though connected with Punjab, were living for centuries in eastern India. They not only became Sikhs, but they acted as missionaries. They were well connected with the Sikh headquarters, whether it was Kartarpur Sahib or your Khadur Sahib or Goindwal Sahib or Amritsar Sahib, and later on Anandpur Sahib. The Janam Sakhis and Hukamnamas prove these facts. Many surnames, according to Sikh history, existed among the Sikhs, either Bahal, Sabarwal, Sodi, Chadda, and many more. So this way, after Guru's period, these people acted as a Mukh Sevadar Sarvarah of Patna Sahib as well as Dhaka. And later, during the period of Guru Tegh Bahadur, one more big group joined Sikhism, though the impact was started from Guru Amar Das onwards. The Masand named Chacha Phaggu Mal, he stayed at Sasaram. He propagated Sikhism, and during the time of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, who stayed at Sasaram, a large chunk of population, especially Agrahari Sikhs, joined Sikhism. And here in Guru Granth Sahib, you see Guru Navi Patsha, 9th Guru's Bani in Jaijavanti Rag, Ram Simar, Ihe Tere Karaj Hai. It was written in Bhojpuri language. So the Agraharis scattered to many places. One was Kedli Chatti and Dumri, two villages in Jharkhand near Hunterganj. And other main, the population has settled in Calcutta. The Agrahari Sikhs stay in Calcutta for about 300 years, and they were most nearest to, as Bivadi has talked about Hajuri Mal. So they were most nearest Sikhs to Hajuri Mal, and they constructed the Sangats, either Gurdwara Bada Sikh Sangat, Gurdwara Chota Sikh Sangat, Guru Ka Bagh Bagmari, and Guru Ka Bagh Narkal Danga. So in this way, they took the message of Guru Nanak and our Gurus, and they became ambassador in Calcutta. And there are many other groups who joined Sikhism. Among them were about 12 villages in Kathiawar district. They are often called Sodvansi Khalsa, that is the sons or descendant of Gurus.
Gopal Das will speak about his new book and the virtues of a mindful life. Without much further ado, I would now like to invite Gaur Gopalji on stage, please.
Which we often see in a Kamaghata Maru ship picture, Baba Balwant Singh carrying a small kid. Baba Gurdev Singh carrying a small kid named Baba Balwant Singh. He was also married to that very place.
So Jagmohan Singh ji, you mentioned udasis, which are very important for the Sikhs. So could you elaborate and tell us about the udasis, nirmalas and the akalis?
So
For the audience, so that they will get a better picture.
Very good question you have asked. So the first propagators of Sikhism beside our Gurus were udasis. But in East India, the term we don't use udasis. It is generally Nanak Shahi, Nanak Panthis, the adherent of Nanak. They went from village to village and preached.
Am I right? Okay, that's how much Bangla I know. But it's such a privilege, pleasure and honor to be here this morning. I must thank the Tata Steel Kolkata Literature Festival for inviting me over here. And thank you all very much for coming on a Sunday morning. Oh goodness me.
Or even old typed from published from Lahore about 150 years ago. These type of things, many old relevant facts which proves that their role cannot be denied. And next was Nirmalas. And Nirmalas, as you know, when Malcolm writes a book, the sketch of SIKHS, I think it was first very interesting books written by European in about 1810. So he borrowed the total ideas, he gained knowledge from a Nirmala Sant staying in Calcutta, probably in Gurdwara Bada Sikh Sangat. So in this way, Akalis in the late 19th century, the impact of Akalis has started in Calcutta. And later on, in 1920s, in 23, 24, 200 people had joined Jaitoda Morcha, led by Akalis from Calcutta.
Himadri, now we come to you, and you've written a wonderful book on the impact of the Sikhs on literature in the East. So how would you introduce the Sikhs coming to Calcutta in terms of the literature you've studied and what has been written in our text here?
If you permit me to stand, being a teacher, I should be standing there feeling comfortable.
Sure.
With your permission. Time ব্যাপারে করে দেবে। You represent possibly the Wa Kolkataya. That was written by Hardev Singh Garewal. It underlines his. Oh, acha. Okay, fine. Sorry. Acha, this is a book written by Hardev Singh Garewal, who was not born in Calcutta, but he spent his whole life. And he pointed out something about how Sikhs came, because he died here also recently. I would quote from Janam Sakhi, birth narratives of Guru Nanak. And I would go as far as one of them has been to Panja Sahib, and which is intimately associated with freedom struggle, paintings, and Bali Kandari, the famous or infamous saint. He told, when Guru and Mardana went there, he told, Ukhar jao. He told one group, Ukhar jao, and the other group was told, Basat raho. Of those group who were supporting Guru, helping Guru, he told them, Ukhar jao. And those who were not supporting Guru, he asked them, Basat raho. So Mardana asked him, why this is happening? Guru told, those are good people who should be scattered to distant parts of the world. And those badmashes should be staying here confined. So this Vakalkataya possibly carries the tradition. A honest, hard-working, and having their gurdwaras, serving non-Sikhs in times of crisis. It is not merely confined to Calcutta, but the whole of India, even outside, and I had the experience of recently to to other countries where they came out and supported the similar things way. So it is a part of seva. That is Guru's seva. It is like, so as Vibhaji told about how they came because of different reasons. One, primarily in Calcutta, it was growing up as a metropolitan city, commercial capital. So it has a magnetic attraction. Besides that, as Jagmohan has introduced briefly, that is, over the centuries, the Sikhs came and the process began. Since the days of Nanak Panthis, the Nanak Panthis were settled in Murshidabad, in Bengal I am pointing out, in Murshidabad, Jangipur, and then Malda, then going down to beyond Dhaka and other places. And finally, they came down to Calcutta. So, Nanak Panthis were there. Punjabi Sikhs were there, who were primarily here as soldiers. Bihari Sikhs, as Jagmohan ji has pointed out, that they were here, they are from Bihar. Actually, Sikhs, they are of different types, having their gurdwaras at Chota Sikh Sangat. That will be a different story, the rivalry between Chota Sangat and Bara Sangat. And the way the Chota Sangat is treated, that's a different story, and I would not go there. So this is the thing. So the Sikhs, like the streams of river, they came down and joined here in Calcutta, of different territories, of different languages, of different cultural perspective. So it was a heterogeneous ethnic complexion that the Sikhs were in here in Calcutta. I believe that is.
Yes, Himadri da. And so your book is very fascinating, and it covers many Bengali authors who've depicted Sikhism. They're very fascinating. They cover different aspects, essays. So how has our Guruji spoken about the gurus of Sikhism? Rabindranath Tagore has written extensively on Sikhism. There are many essays, plays, and stories. So Himadri da, I would like you to touch upon some of them.
Acha. Somebody may not be appreciating the word Guruji. Guru is meant for Guru, who is the representative of God on earth. And Rabindranath never claimed to be a Guru. We made him Kavi Guru. So there is a subtle differences. Yes. Now going back, it is the Brahmo search of monotheism that introduced Sikhism, beginning with Ram Mohan Rai, enlarged by Maharishi Devendranath Thakur, and so on. And that most glorious part possibly would be Rabindranath. At the age of 20, he wrote a wonderful essay published in Balak, that is Kajer Lokke. Don't confuse it with the 21st century's Kajer Lokke. So it refers to who is the real person who helped the community. It is written in a very simple language meant for the school-going children and not uttering any high-sounding philosophy or politics or religion, so that it can be understood by school-going children. His father, Kalu, was a typical, बहुत पैसा बनाओ और कुछ नहीं करो. लेकिन here, Kalu did everything for himself, whereas Nanak spent the whole sum, the capital, which was given for Sauda, he spent it for consuming the common people, the hungry people. So Nanak has a very bad time with his father. But in the long-term perspective, who did the great service? That is, who fed the common people. That a boy of 20 could understand it, or a school-going children of 11 or 12 or 13 could understand it. If I told him, like Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar's Pratham Bhag, that will be something anathema, he would not be able to understand. But he told it, it is his wisdom that he could narrate it in a language understandable to the people. And then goes on and goes on and goes on. Rabindranath, in all India parameter, made the largest contribution on Sikh history and literature and other things. His 3 poems, Guru Gobind, Nishphal Upahar, and Shesh Shikha, which is the best. I am not the final judge. Yes, no, every life is so indispensable. Nobody can kill anybody. And even the Guru was not above law. So Guru reared out the Pathan who killed him. And that was the end in a noble way. It raised a great human cry. In Surendranath Banerjee's Bengali magazine, it is tragedy that Rabindranath was not, even all Gurudwaras were told not to encourage Rabindranath. Because he was talking about, don't misunderstand me, I am an historian, if you allow me to tell the truth, I will be, sorry, no, not truth, rather what I understand to be humble truth. Guru was killed in his own method, that can be learned in his own way. But here a Guru who is human, who is not human being, quote and unquote, had a normal death, which is something preposterous. In 1890, the poem was published in 1899, and within a year in Bengali, it was seriously criticized, and it is available in Bengali magazine, National Library Center. So this is the Shesh Shikha. But the most important thing is this: he continued to write till the age of 73 with many ups and downs. So he wrote at least possibly five major poems, possibly. I couldn't recollect. Shukanta who is here would be checking me. One big essay, which is again very critical of Tagore. He was not very happy with the way the violence and finally the Shesh Shaptak, 13, possibly poem number 33, he wrote about a Sikh. The most of the story was taken from Bandibir, which was earlier written. And it was a Sikh boy who was arrested by a Mughal governor. And he was asked to be released, his mother's only son. But the boy told, mother told that he is not a Sikh. He is Hindu or something like that. At least he is not Sikh. The boy had one line answer. Yes, I am the Sikh. Truth is my religion. So it is something, make Sikhism and Guru's Sikh is somewhat extremely respectful. I do not know the exact word to be used in this case. And this is some of the major writings of Tagore, which I quickly had to complete.
Himadri, how would you contextualize the Sikh martyrdom in our nationalist movement? And how did it impact the Bengali nationalists?
Acha. Bengali, you see, for different reasons, Sikh martyrdom was appreciated. As you all know, martyrdom, so I am not going to elaborate that issue. I am going to explain on some of the points. The Sikh martyrdom begins with Guru Nanak's Babar Bani. When Babar invaded and destroyed Saidpur, it was Babar Bani who came out. He told, it is the fate of India, the way he should be treated. And this message that whenever there is a political tyranny and oppression, the Babar Bani became a household word to some Sikhs. So it is with Guru Nanak that Babar Bani travelled. And the sixth Guru Hargobind built up Akal Takht and militarized the whole community. And the process continued till Khalsa was created in 1699. Actually, the Khalsa, the brotherhood, power was distributed to the community. No one is single responsible. The larger community, Guru Chela, Chela Guru, that is the concept. That is when power is federalized, distributed, when there is no particular center. It was very important during the time of 18th century when the attack against the Mughals had been going on. So there is no leader. Amra shabai raja amaderi rajar rajotte. It is something like that everybody is king, everybody is ek jat swa lakh. So he can order and do the mobilization, and if necessary he can fly away. So power was distributed through Khalsa, popularized, and the 18th century's history of Sikhs, it was a story of struggle with the Mughals, with the Marathas, with the Pathans, with the Persians and all. And Punjab became a battleground. So the martyrdom, Age ke ba pran koribe ke dan tari lage karakari, din gele prate ghatoker hate bondira shari shari. There was Forster has explained that there was a competition who should be first martyr. The 706 died one after another. Bondibir has ended with the fascinating line, Sthir hoye veer morilo nakori ekti kator shabdo. So here is a great example of martyrdom without any expression. That is, one should die so without any protest, when death would come, you come with open hand, you must embrace, and that is the Sikh philosophy. That is, death is not the end of life. Death is teaching you, carrying you something great. So you are sacrificing something for the greater cause. So this principle was in circulation, let it be from 1860s. And even that famous writer, I shouldn't be using the word, the Shubhprakash's editor, the Mitra, Kumudini Mitra's father, who was jailed in a campus, in a Patna jail, he heard that somebody is reading Guru Granth Sahib. He asked, what is this? Well, it is the sacred text. He read it, understood it, and he started writing. But he was a revolutionary. His manuscript was seized and he was sent to jail. But his daughter, Kumudini Mitra, brought out a small biography of Shikher Attodan, which was declared illegal literature, banned, and there had been 6 to 8 editions of the book. So, you see, it is a long tradition of interaction between martyrdom and the self-sacrifice of the Sikhs and Bengali appreciation. And it is difficult for me to start from one point and to end another. It is
Himadri,
always
that's
an
very,
incomplete
very
story.
illuminating, and I know your book has a lot more in it. So
my
now,
time is over.
Apni Bhushan, now we will ask Jagmohan ji about the role of Sikhs in Bengali nationalism, patriotism, and in the partition of Bengal, because he has oral histories which is recorded, and that's also a very fascinating story. Himadrida will come back again with some other questions. Yeah. Please.
So, as you have asked, first question, what was the impact of Sikhism and Sikhs on Bengali nationalism? As you know, there are many facts in 20th century where Bengalis and Sikhs hand in hand fought for freedom, whether revolutionary movements or satyagrahas. But one very important thing I want to share with you is that
Next two questions, taratari.
there was a seminar on rise of the Sikh power arranged at the gallery of Hindu School, western side of Sanskrit College Street, in around 1880s. S.N. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee was the main speaker and fiery speaker. Bipin Chandra Pal, later on with fame of Lal Bal Pal, quotes few lines which I think it must be shared in Bengali. What Surendranath Banerjee said the audience, and audience was so much moved and were ready to fight for their motherland. Few lines in Bengali. Bhishmo, Dron, Karnarjun, Probhriti, Smornanito, Otiter, প্রতিধ্বনি মাত্র আনিতেন, কিন্তু ইদানীন্তন কালে যে ভারতে অসাধারণ শৌর্য বীর্যের প্রতিষ্ঠা হইয়াছিল, ভারত মহাকাব্যের আদর্শ যে আধুনিক ইতিহাসেও ফুটিয়া উঠিয়াছিল, এই কথা অনেকেই জানিতেন না। সুরেন্দ্রনাথ এই প্রথম বক্তৃতা আমাদের কল্পনাকে বাস্তব রাজ্য আনিয়া ফেলিল। ইংরেজ শক্তি যে অপরাজয়, শিক্ষিত বাঙালি মনে এই ধারণাই জন্মেছিল। ইংরেজ অনামিকা সঞ্চালনে ভারতবর্ষে আপনার অন্যান্য প্রতিদ্বন্দ্বী প্রভুশক্তি প্রতিষ্ঠিত করিয়াছে। সেকালের নবশিক্ষিত সম্প্রদায়ের অনেকের মনে এই ধারণাই ছিল। শিখের শৌর্যবীর্যের নিকটে ইংরেজ শৌর্যবীর্য যে বারবার পরাভব স্বীকার করিয়াছে, এ কথা ভালো করে করিয়া আমরা জানিতাম না। We didn't know about the valor and bravery of Sikhism. ইংরেজের ইতিহাসে যেখানে ইংরেজ বেদম হারিয়া গিয়াছে, তাহার কথা জয় পরাজয় ঠিক হয় নাই, এইভাবেই লিপিবদ্ধ হইয়াছে। ও ঠিক হয়নি, টেকনিক্যাল এরার্স, দিস অ্যান্ড দ্যাট। এই জন্যে সুরেন্দ্রনাথের রাইজ অফ দ্য শিখ পাওয়ার বিষয়ক বক্তৃতা যুগপৎ আমাদের জ্ঞান চক্ষু খুলিয়া দেয় এবং স্বজাতি অভিমানকে ঐতিহাসিক ভিত্তির উপর দৃঢ় প্রতিষ্ঠা করে। সুরেন্দ্রনাথ এই বক্তৃতা বাংলার নবযুগের ইতিহাসে এক স্মরণীয় ঘটনা। সেই দিন, at last Bipin Chandra Pal writes, সেই দিন হইতেই নবযুগের বাংলা ইতিহাসে নতুন রাষ্ট্রকর্মের এবং রাষ্ট্রীয় স্বাধীনতার আন্দোলনের জন্ম হয়। This is event of 1880s.
This is very inspiring, Jagmohan ji. Now, can we come to the partition?
Yes. So, as Sikhs in Calcutta fought with their Bengali brethren together, there were many things, many historical evidences, but the partition of India, before that, the gloomy picture of Calcutta starts. In Muslim League called Great Action Day on 16th August 1946. There were great riots. And as you know, the especially Sikh taxi drivers, the Sikh workmen, laborers, they did not sit idle. They wanted to save humanity everywhere. Thousands of people were killed in streets of Calcutta, especially in central Calcutta. The Sikhs, as there was rumor that Sikhs are killing Muslims or Sikhs are attacking Muslim houses or Muslim brothers, this was quite wrong. Even big supporter of Muslim League, Sohrawardy, the chief minister of that time, he quotes in the Statesman in October 1st, 1946. Headline is, "All reports against Sikhs found untrue." Mr. Sohrawardy asks Muslim to give up suspicion. This was the headline. Few lines I am talking. He says, Sohrawardy says, "I have been in constant touch with the Sikh leaders and I am absolutely convinced regarding their bona fides and the attempt that they are making to keep themselves neutral. More than that, during the riots, they have saved as many as 5,000 Muslims from dangerous areas and carried these Muslims to safe places." And you know, Gurdwaras became camp for Hindus and Muslims both. Shri Guru Singh Sabha Gurdwara Jagat Sudhar was the main, there was a main encampment there. One Muslim brother, he had a very big family. Mr. M. Iqbal writes later a letter to Desh Darpan editor Sardar Niranjan Singh Talib, who was one of the main leaders to save the humanity of both communities. Mr. Iqbal writes, "This is to inform you that we all the family members of KSH Ghulam Muhammad and brothers are very much thankful to all the Sikh nation because the Sikh people with very kind help rescued our family from our residence 24/1 Rassa Road and brought out to 8A Harish Mukherjee Road just beside Sant Kutia Gurdwara. Sant Kutia Gurdwara is 10A. I think our brothers of Sant Kutia Gurdwara have come there. 8A Harish Mukherjee Road, where our relatives were staying. Nearly 306 helped us to stay for night, and then Sikh people next morning rescued us to safe place. For this act of Sikh nation, we all are very much obliged and we thank them. So these were the role, this was the role of Sikhs in 1946, the great riots that can never be forgotten. Though many early people, when I was youth or child, I heard from seniors how they were saved. My father narrated story, my uncles narrated story, but now we are forgetting these all things. These are to be remembered.
Thank you so much, Jagmohan ji. So there is a very important part of Sikhism in East India, and Himadri ji has written, we know that the Guru's journey to Jagannath Puri. So Himadri, I would like you to talk about the intimate connection that Sikhism has with Jagannath Puri, and also in Assam, it played a very important role. There were the Barkandazes and the hyphenated Sikhs. So, Himadri, very, very briefly, could you touch upon these two states? 2 minutes.
What I feel, একটা কবিতা বলি বরং সেটা হচ্ছে कहाँ से आए नानक साईं कहाँ तुम्हारा डेरा ऋग वेद से पैदा हुए पैदा हुए प्रयाग गुरुद्वारा and etc. etc. It's a narrative, or it's a part of proscenium theatre that occurred during the Ram Navami in the streets of Puri to celebrate Ram Navami, and Sikh was in dialogue with Panda. This is available in Puri Sathera Jatra story. This is briefly about, because the road was Jagannath Sharak, as he was telling, via Bhadrak and then Katak and then to Puri. So going back to Assam, once again, it is tradition that 506 soldiers came from Punjab to fight the battle of Hadira Chaki in 1813 against Manor invasion. Man means Burmese. Burmese invasion destroyed Assam, as if they came from Assam, from Punjab to fight. They fought, but they didn't go back to Punjab. They settled inside Assam, and if you go even today in Assam villages in Naugaon, Chaponmukh, then Hatimupura, Lonka and Barkola. These are the 4 villages where native Sikhs are there, talking in Assamese, putting on native dresses, and the ladies were wearing mekhala chadar.
So, Himadri, I have another question for you. So, these were the hyphenated Sikhs, and the mercenary soldiers were called Barkandazes. So, the next book of Himadri is called Global Sikhs. This one is called The Other Sikhs. So, would you say that Sikhism is a global religion?
Oh, sure. 3 minutes. There should not be speakers intervention. Achha. What does global Sikh means? That is, Sikhs in the first place are scattered all over the world. The Western diaspora, which is very important. We often talk about that. But what about the internal diaspora? The Sikhs are available in India in larger number, and that came into existence in long before the Western diaspora was conceived. And the most important thing is this: these Sikhs are not exactly all the Sikhs of Punjab. They are Sikhs of local places. For example, the Bihari Sikhs few of them had been to Punjab. The Assamia Sikhs had never been to Punjab. The Dakhini Sikhs, who are of headquarters at Nanded, they had not been Punjab. So, and Kashmiri Sikhs is there. They are the most educated and versatile genius. And they are mostly of the Brahman Sikh. It is strange that Sikhism has accommodated the Brahmins, who are mostly in Kashmir. They are the most educated Sikh, unlike their counterpart, having settled in other parts. So what does global religion means? They are scattered all over the world. India is as good as a subcontinent. They have their different forms of religion, different forms of language, different forms of Gurdwara rituals, different forms of... Now, many of them had never been to Punjab. They don't even know how to read Punjabi. So they have indigenized the dissimilarities and varieties of pluralities. This is the Christianity, for example. Asian Christianity is distinctly different from African Christianity. Similarly, so Islam is of different, the Indonesian Islam would be different from Tunisian Islam. Similarly, Sikhism of Burma is definitely different from the Sikhs of Singapore, where Sikhs are comparatively well placed, but in Burma they have to struggle every day. So these are varied questions. So world religion means constituting of different traditions, language, linguistic groups, ethnic group, culture, tradition, and diversity is the basic principle of world religion. Sikhism is therefore generally regarded, not therefore, is widely regarded therefore, the fifth youngest religion of the world. Thank you very much.
That's very, very fascinating. And our talk comes to an end. You're most welcome to talk to both of them. They are repositories of knowledge, and it was a tough time condensing everything that they had to say. And now I will ask the audience to ask questions. But before that, what I would say is that it is very important for a Sikh event to have some sort of food to be served. So the volunteers will serve little boxes of food for all the audience, which Jagmohan ji has got for everyone. And I would like my OTP teammate, Navpreet Singh, would you stand up, please? So she's wearing a dupatta with the Sikh letters on it. And before we go to the question answers, would you like to say something, Navpreet?
SIKHS from our mothers, I've heard from my grandfather. But what is closest to my heart, like just being a Sikh who has been born and brought up here. I have been born here, I have studied here, I worked here, I have been married here. All I can say is what really touches my heart is the assimilation which we Sikhs have done. Talking on a lighter note, I had spoken to Vibha on length, on this, like assimilation for me meant when my father was called by Sardarji, by his friends' children and friends' grandchildren. No one called him uncle or kaku or misho. Everyone called him Sardarji. For me, assimilation means when my friends, Bengali friends' mother, when we were going out, would tell us that if it's a Sikh driver, go only with him. I think that this story is very, very common. For me, assimilation meant when my Sikh father, who came from Heartland, Punjab, he would refuse to leave Calcutta during Durga Puja, saying, the world comes here, why should we go from here? For me, assimilation meant when my mother, who came from Punjab, and she came here during the 60s, and that time, wearing a salwar suit was something which only the Sikh women did. Right? They were called the Punjabi suits. Okay? That was the time, that was once a year during Nobami, when my mother would wear a lalpar sari. Okay? And go to see the Kumori Puja in a Bengali friend's house. Assimilation meant that for me. Assimilation meant when in school, when I used to get the highest marks in Bengali, I was called a Bengali Sardarni in school. So, this is what Calcutta means for us. Today also, my husband is here also. So for us, when we were working and, we were given an option to leave this city and go. We left our jobs, but we didn't leave the city. That's what Sikhism in Calcutta, Sikhs in, this city mean to me. Thank you, Vibha.
This is very, very important because, she's a true blue Sardarni. That's what I call her. So now we would like everyone to ask a few questions. Anyone who has any question to ask, these two are veritable experts in the field. And please do. Yes, yes, the lady in the red sari, orange sari.
Thank you very much. We learnt a lot from both of you. That's brilliant. I've always been curious. We've talked about Sikh generosity and compassion and so on, but really what defines it is its respect for labor and work. Kar, right? The kar seva concept of a non-discriminatory, everybody does everything. Now, because you're both scholars of this, can you tell us whether within Sikh writing there is a critique of caste society, which in fact doesn't believe, it's exactly the opposite. And Sikhism is a critique of Hinduism. So is that kind of critique of how discriminatory Hindu societies, host societies were about labor and work? Thank you.
Himadri, would you like to answer that?
It begins with Singh Sabha movement. In 1899, it was told, "Hum Hindu, Sikh Hindu hai." When the Singh Sabha movement started in 1873, it was definitely aimed at defining the limits of communal boundaries, because the Sikhs were Hindus, Sahzaris had very little difference. So Sahzaris became an anachronism in the ranks of Sikhism. They create the all problem, quote and unquote. So why Sahzaris should be there when Panch Kaka is compulsory? Either they should be driven out or they should be made Panch Kaka. So tussle had been going on. So Sikh Hindu hai because of the Sahzari, but Bhai Khan Singh Nava's famous booklet, Hum Hindu nahi, because there are well-defined differences between Hindus and Sikhs, beginning with rites of passage, the birthright, marriage, and death rituals. These are three distinctly different from Hinduism and Sikhism. And the Sikhism, according to them, is free from casteism, which I, with all humility, disagree. If you are in India, even the converted Christians have their caste. So the Rice Christian is there. So caste is there, for which Guru Nanak, na kai Hindu, na kai Musalman, na kai Brahmanism, Banerjee, it was all condemned. So casteism is there, but it is denounced in Sikhism. And in Sikhism, casteism is of a different one. Brahmins not at the top, the Jats at the top. And comparatively more relaxations are going on in the ranks of Sikhism, so far as the caste is concerned.
So Himadri,
yes.
the philosophy does not allow caste,
Yes.
but I think the caste trains are rampant because of usage and tradition.
Jagmohan will be better able to tell.
Yes, but can we have, is there another question? Yes, please. Yes, yes. Shayan.
Vibha, I'll ask this a bit differently. How is Sikh music, the Gurbani music which is there, so that has such a huge impact by bringing across the format of the Granth Sahibs and the rest. So how is that relationship spread, not just from here, from all parts of the country and overseas? And there is a major festival which runs in Tokyo every year for the last 2 decades, which is reaching out through music and through the interpretations of the religious text in a much easier and relatable format. So could you tell us something about that?
So that's very interesting, because I read somewhere in one of their books that Gurbani was written in Rag Darbari. So which of you will answer these questions? Jagmohan ji, aap bole about the music in Sikhism.
See, I am basically social historian, but as far as I know, Gurbani is composed in 31 ragas, and every rag is having its different features, different flavors. And Guru Sahib was well versed in ragas, and even I think when Rabindranath Tagore was a kid, he visited with his father, Maharshi Devendranath. So he first attraction towards ragas might have been in our Darbar Sahib, Harmandir Sahib. So this much I can say. Baki, Sir Himadri Banerjee.
He's really enthusiastic, and you know, he's such a fascinating speaker.
Well,
it's really a joy to hear him. Yes, yes. You can have the mic, Dada.
There are particularly Namdhari Sikhs, a particular category of Sikhs who believes that there are living gurus. They are masters of instrumental music and the Gurbanis. And Rabindranath, to begin, every story of our day-to-day life begins with Rabindranath. Badai Ramma Bina Badai. It is taken from Gurbani. And then Gaganmoyi Thal. And the basic concept of Gurbani, that God is at the central of all creation, and the God has created this creation. So it is not that bad, which many of the Hindu ascetics used to denounce. You leave the world, you go to jungle. But you need to stay here because God has created it. It is so wonderful. It is so beautiful. You need to appreciate and do your duty as a part of human being. So every rag, for example, when you hear in Malkush or in Darbari Kannada, Badai Ramma Bina Badai, and then there are other stories. That is Rabindra Sangit's center. An important feature is nature. And nature is sometimes equated with God. And God is everywhere or something like that, if I am properly understood. So Gurbani is without God's creation, is an appreciation of that wonderful world. That Sthale Jale Bajiche. There are sounds echoing around. You are feeling that. You are a part of it. You feel. So would you be living the world which God has created so meticulously, so beautifully? You don't have to. So if you want to be Falahari Sadhu, go to jungle. And in that case, a monkey is taking much fruits every day. So monkey is more yogi and God-loving than any human being. But you need to be, you are somebody's father.
So Dada, let's
okay.
talk of the musicality of the Sikh religion, and that's wonderful. So there is a lady here, Amrit ji Sabarwal. थोड़ा दो लाइन ही बोलिएगा तो ठीक रहेगा, हम लोग का टाइम थोड़ा एंड हो रहा है.
Guru Nanak Sahib was himself an accomplished poet, writer, singer, musician. He sang hymns in the praise of the Almighty to the Rabab of Mardana. And he preached Prema Bhakti. And Kirtan, which he said, singing to music, his hymns, his praise, it controls the wandering mind. It helps you in concentration. It keeps in that state of meditation. And it is when a heart is soaked in love. He preached Prema Bhakti. And when a heart soaked in love and gratitude and humility, that's why he preached Seva. Seva brings humility in a person. So with a heart full of love and gratitude, you can draw the great God into our little hearts.
That is so wonderfully put, and with love and gratitude, I embrace this religion, which because of many friends has become dear to me.
One point I'd like to add, that Guru Nanak preached that there's one God, and he wanted all of us that pray to follow one Almighty who is the supreme creator of the universe. And two main things which he preached was universal brotherhood and universal self-being. He did not want to differentiate on the basis of caste, creed, or status in society. So they said there's no room for discord between different religions. because he's the creator, he's the father, and we are all his sons,
So
his children.
There's this beautiful line I read in one of the writers, Ek Pita Ekas Ke Hum Barik. So that is the essence of Sikhism, I think, which is the need of the day. You know, to love all, and this whole musicality of the religion, the beautiful kirtans. So there is one question lingering, but quickly, a very quick question and very quick answer. We cannot delay this. Yes.
Yes, thank you for giving me the chance. Right, I just thank you, speakers, for such a wonderful talk. But when Jagmohan ji was talking about the role of gurdwaras, especially during the time of the partition, and having read a lot of partition novel, this amount of great emphasis that's on the role of gurdwaras, whether be Bhishma Sani's Tamas or Khushwant Singh's Train to Pakistan, and even while growing up as being a Sindhi, just the amount of importance that's given to gurdwaras. So my question was that, we can't simply look at gurdwaras as just places of worship. They are just so much more than that. So could you just tell
Not
a little
elaborate.
bit more on that?
We need a very, very short answer.
Very short.
One line.
देखो गुरुद्वारा सिर्फ धार्मिक स्थल या पूजा स्थल नहीं होता है, ये हमारा एक सामाजिक जो मिलने का एक सेंटर है. तो गुरुद्वारा में ये आपको हम अभी नहीं बताए, बहुत लंबा हो जाता, कि ये गुरुद्वारा ही था जिस स्टेज में हमारे नेताजी चित्तरंजन दास वो अलग अलग समय में यहाँ पर शरणागत हुए. अब वहाँ ऑडियंस को, वहाँ जो संगत थी उनको प्रेरणा किया और आज़ादी के आंदोलन में कैसे जाना है. अब हमारा जो जगत सुधा गुरुद्वारा है, वहाँ शायद ही कोई नेशनल लीडर हो जो 30s और 40s में, चाहे वो गांधी जी हो, चाहे वो नेहरू हो, चाहे और कोई हो, तो सब कोई वहाँ आए हैं. तो यही हमारा गुरुद्वारा का बड़प्पन है. गुरुद्वारा के वजह से ही हमें राइट्स के लिए जो कम काम कर सके, और आज जो कोरोना के समय में भी जो सिखों ने एक बेशुमार काम किया, सेवा की है, दुनिया सब जानती है. तो ये गुरुद्वारा की वजह से ही हो पाया.
So on this note, that seva is our dharma and karma, I think we can bring this talk to not an end, but the beginning of the next conversation. The two erudite speakers are there. They are very, very knowledgeable. You can converse with them after the talk. And I hand the stage over to the next panel. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here.